Hi, this is Chris Guest-Hewson from Aptis Tutor, the place to come for all things Aptis related. Today we've got Aptis General Speaking Test 9 with Sample B2 answers. You'll see some of the languages highlighted. For explanations of this, go to the post below. We've tried to include as many ideas as possible to help you. Hope it's useful.
I'm going to ask you 3 short questions about yourself and your interests. You will have 30 seconds to reply to each question. Begin speaking when you hear this sound. Please tell me about your house or flat.
It's a small attic flat and we live on the 3rd floor. There's the main bedroom, a small second bedroom that we use as an office, an open-plan kitchen and lounge, a tiny bathroom and a terrace where we usually have breakfast. The thing I like the most about it is that it's very quiet and peaceful.
Please tell me about your daily routine.
On weekdays I get up around 7, have a shower, get dressed and grab a quick coffee. Then I cycle to work, which only takes me about 10 minutes. I work from 8 till 1 when I have lunch in the canteen. My working day finishes at 4. Then I cycle home, go to the gym, watch a bit of telly and go to bed at about 11 p.m.
What are you planning to do after this test?
I'm not quite sure. I don't have any real plans. I might meet up with my classmates and go for a quick drink to celebrate the end of the course. Or perhaps I'll go straight to the shops. I've got to pop into the supermarket to buy some essentials, as my sister's coming around for dinner and I haven't got much food in.
In this part, I'm going to ask you to describe what is happening in a picture. Then I will ask you 2 questions about it. You will have 45 seconds for each response. Begin speaking when you hear this sound.
There are 4 people sitting around a table playing Monopoly. The 2 men are wearing bright white uniforms. I think they must be sailors. The other players are girls who look about 9 or 10. Maybe they're the sailors' daughters. They're dressed in summer clothes and both have shoulder-length brown hair in ponytails. They all look as if they're enjoying themselves. Perhaps the sailors are on leave and having some family time. It looks like some type of games room because there's a pile of board games in the corner.
What type of family activities do people generally do in your country?
That's a bit hard to say as every family is different. In general, family life is important and most of us are pretty close. Probably the most important family activity is having meals together, especially dinner. It gives us the chance to catch up with each other, talk about what we've been doing and share any news. Some families play card and board games, especially if they have young kids. And another popular activity is going for days out to the coast or to the countryside, usually at weekends.
How has family life changed in the last 50 years?
Well, I'd say family life has really changed a lot. 50 years ago it was very male-dominated. Fathers went to work and made all the important decisions, while women would stay at home, do all the housework, and be responsible for looking after the kids. There's more sharing of roles nowadays, which is a big change. Another thing is that most children used to live with their parents until they got married, whereas today many young people prefer to be independent and get their own place, if they can afford it.
In this part, I'm going to ask you to compare two pictures, and I will then ask you two questions about them. You will have 45 seconds for each response. Begin speaking when you hear this sound. Tell me what you see in these two pictures.
Both pictures show young people looking happy, but in very different situations. The first shows two young women who look as though they've just finished their university degrees, as they're wearing graduation gowns and hats and carrying certificates. They're probably around 22 or 23 years old. In the second photo, there are three people of a similar age, but they're working in a fast food restaurant. They're standing behind a counter making sandwiches, and you can see a selection of cut-up vegetables in front of them. It could be their first day at work.
Why do some young people look for a job instead of continuing to study?
Well, I think there are many reasons, including your economic situation and your peer group. If you want to go to university and can't get a grant, you have to rely on financial help from your family or a student loan from a bank. That can be very hard, especially if your friends are already working and you're the only one not earning money. What's more, graduates often find it hard to get a job in their chosen field when they finish their studies. So many young people prefer to start work as soon as they leave school.
What would you advise a friend to do? Study or work, and why?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, and it would really depend on the friend. Unless she or he already had a special skill and a business plan, for example, setting up a tech company, I'd probably try to convince my friend to go to college or university. These days, the job market is so competitive that you really need a higher education qualification if you want to stand out. Another good option would be to do an apprenticeship. That way you start earning and learn a skill at the same time.
In this part, I'm going to show you a picture and ask you 3 questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answers before you start speaking. You will have 2 minutes to answer all 3 questions. Begin speaking when you hear this sound. Look at the photograph. Tell me about a time when you decided to get fit. How did you feel about it? Do you think people today get enough exercise? You now have 1 minute to think about your answers. You can take notes if you want. You now have 2 minutes to talk.
Unlike some of the other questions, this is quite an easy one to answer. I clearly remember deciding that I had to get fit as soon as the first lockdown finished. I felt as if I'd spent 3 months doing nothing but sitting in front of the computer and eating. I joined a gym, and at first I found it really hard. Doing even the smallest amount of exercise, only a few minutes running, left me breathless. I felt really unfit and unhealthy. The best decision I made was to start going to the classes organised by the gym. The instructors make sure that you're doing the exercises correctly, and they also motivate you to try harder. On the whole, I don't think that people do enough exercise. People rely on cars too much and use them for the shortest of journeys. Children often spend hours playing computer games when in the past they would run around and be more active. These days, it's really rare to see children playing in the street. This lack of exercise will lead to all sorts of problems in later life, such as obesity and heart disease. In my opinion, we should all pay more attention to keeping fit. Okay, hope that was useful. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and remember to click on the notifications bell so you'll know whenever we upload a new video. We try to do that at least every week. And remember, you can go to www.aptistutor.com for lots more free exam practice material. Okay, thanks a lot. See you next time.